I'm Lynn Boyer, and you're listening to Community Catalysts, a podcast that supports each other through shared experience. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Community Catalyst podcast here at the YMCA of Greater Nashua. I'm Lynn Boyer, your host and the Executive Director of Community Impact here at the YMCA. And I'm so pleased to announce my guest for today, Terri Connolly with Triangle Credit Union. Hello, Terri.
Hi.
And Terri, what is it that you do at Triangle?
So at Triangle, I've been with the credit union for 16 years, and I started in marketing all of those years ago, and I'm actually still in marketing. I've had some promotions along the way, and I'm the marketing manager for the credit union, and very involved with a lot of our financial literacy, which I know that we're going to be talking a lot about today. So, and some of the community initiatives as well.
Great.
So I've been around for the credit union for a long time and have seen a lot of growth over the years. So it's been awesome.
That's great. And so obviously, like most people in our audience know Triangle as a bank, but can you share a little bit more about what else Triangle does, where you're located, who you serve?
Oh, yes, of course. So we are a not-for-profit cooperative, financial cooperative. So we're a credit union, and we are owned and operated by our members. So what sets us apart traditionally, like from a traditional bank, is that our credit union and the credit union movement was initiated to people helping people, essentially. And so it's a very community-oriented. Credit unions typically are more localized in our decision making, and so we have members at the forefront of everything that we do. You know, just in terms of the deposit rates that we offer. You know, we're trying to be at least competitive in our deposit rates and our lending rates. We try and keep those really low for our community members. And we also are, just very focused on, basically providing all of the products and services of a bank, but at a more localized level. And, just in terms of trying to keep our fees really low and as minimal as possible. Triangle itself has just celebrated our 85th birthday. So we were established in 1939 by Nashua Gum and Paper Company, which was based obviously in Nashua. And for those who are familiar with this area, grew up here, Nashua Gum and Paper Company ended up going into Nashua Corporation. So the employees of what we would know as Nashua Corp started the credit union in 1939. With about a little over $2,000 in assets and 180 members. And now we are, I know we're over 800 million in assets, and we have 57,000 members. And we have a total of 8 different branches in the area. We've got 3 in Nashua, 2 in Manchester, 1 in Merrimack, 1 in Amherst, and 1 in Derry. So Southern New Hampshire is truly our footprint.
Yeah, that's great. So I always say, and the listeners know this, that I learn something new every time I do this podcast. So I did share with Terri earlier that I learned last week that a credit union is a nonprofit, which is amazing. But I just learned that you were established in Nashua by what we know as Nashua Corp. So that's amazing. That's really great to hear. Let's talk a little bit about our partnership. Triangle and the Y have been longtime community partners involved in each other's events and whatnot. But just recently, we sort of reinvigorated that partnership. So Terri, if you can share a little bit about what's been happening here at the Y.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, going back to my 16 years with Triangle, the Y established Healthy Kids Days years ago, and I believe now they're called is it Healthy Fest or no, Healthy Kids Fest?
Healthy Kids Fest in partnership with the Greater Merrimack Sohegan Chamber of Commerce.
So we support that initiative, and that particular event has always blown me away. Like the number of kids and families that come out to that event it's just mind blowing. It's just wonderful to see the parents and the kids coming out. And because it's focused on, health and wellness, we take the approach of like, well, how can we support wellness and health in the financial industry? So for us, it's really all about like making sure that we have, savings accounts and savings information and stuff like that. So we've been a longtime supporter of the Healthy Kids program. And we are for 2025 as well. As a matter of fact, we have some games, some savings challenges, and they've traditionally been on a digital format through our social media and like on our blog site, but we're actually going to gamify some cards so that they're about the size of a bingo card, but they're going to be savings challenges. And we're introducing it at the Healthy Kids
Oh my
Days.
gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah. And then the other thing that's really new for us with the Y is our financial literacy program. We have 4 different classes that we're offering. We're doing a budgeting. I think it's budgeting for the new year. And then there's one about paying off debt. And the third is safe banking for seniors. So that really kind of focuses on, fraud and protecting, like different measures that you can take to protect yourself from fraud and identity, protecting your identity. And then also how to build credit or restore credit. So those were the 4 areas that we're doing right now for the Y for some of your members.
Yeah, that's great. And I know they've been very well attended. And I'm looking forward to us continuing to offer those in the future. I was part of the Leadership Greater Nashua class of, I want to say 2017 or 18. And our project, that group has to do a project every year. Our project was a financial literacy class at the YMCA. We are not the experts in that. So having Triangle come in as the expert, the trusted source to actually lead that financial literacy series is just so much better, and it definitely more well attended than our efforts. So I think our LGN class definitely sort of helped to pave the way a little bit, but I think Triangle is definitely a much better fit for that, and like I said, probably a better trustworthy source for financial literacy. So, and that's what I love about my work at the Y and what we do at the Y, that branching out to partners who are the experts in their field for us to be able to offer within the walls of the YMCA. So it's just really important. So besides our partnership, what is something else exciting that is going on at Triangle?
Oh, we have so many initiatives underway. I'm not sure if you've seen, a lot of credit unions are doing this, but we've transitioned from automated teller machines, ATMs, to the interactive teller machines, which are kind of like self-service kiosks, but for all your financial needs, right? So we have deployed these ITMs in in all of our lobbies, actually, for all of our branches, and many of our drive-ups now have these ITMs. So we're expanding our fleet into Manchester. I think we have one more branch that needs a couple of ITMs. And what's so cool about the ITM is that there's convenience to it. So a lot of times when people come into the branch, if they're in the line, there's an ITM right there, and you can go and you can do anything that you would do at the teller line at the ITM, right? And now we have them in the drive up, so there's the convenience of it, basically just driving up. For those who are, if you run into any issues at the ITM, there's actually a call button during business hours, and you just hit the I want to chat, and up pops an online teller. And it's not a robot, it's actually it's either an FSR or a teller that's dedicated for chat that day. And sometimes you get the branch from that branch. Sometimes it's a different branch. But these are, obviously trained tellers who can answer any question that you have. So we're excited about the ITM initiative, and, just unrolling that to all of the branches. Financial literacy, as you've mentioned, Lynn, it's at the forefront of everything that we're doing right now. We feel like that it's so critical in our community. I mentioned that we're converting our little savings challenges to bingo cards, and kind of trying to gamify that a little bit. But in addition to the outreach that we have with financial literacy, with the Y and such, we're bringing that to other organizations. We also have our own podcast, which is Making Money Personal, and we house our podcast on I guess you would call it's a site. It's, there's kind of like a blog, if you will, but it's triangleuniversity.org. And that's where our podcasts, our YouTube, and again, more blog, more like article related, things are listed there. So we've got a lot, we have a lot going on, and we're just really excited about, what 2025 has to offer. We do have a new core system coming into play, and that's starting within the next couple of weeks. So what that means for our members is that when you come into Triangle, there's going to be more efficiency in the transactions. And so we're excited about that as well.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Like I shared before the call, I did my banking this morning at Triangle, the Amherst branch. But I actually saw one of the ITM interactions happening, which was really, really neat.
Okay,
I haven't.
I have to ask you, Lynn, I'm going to turn the table a little bit. Have you used one?
No, I haven't. Because I don't know, it's like one of those things that it's intimidating at first, right? But now that you explained it and I saw it this morning, I will very likely try it next time, because I used to always use the drive up, right? All the time. I always use the drive up. Actually, I have a funny story. So, one time I went in and I was like, it was a Saturday morning and I was cutting it close. So I went in expecting to use the drive up, but it was closed because they were changing it to the ITM. So I had to go inside, but I was wearing my pajamas and my slippers. So I had to apologize to the teller. She was so nice. She was like, we've seen worse, basically. So I was like, I wasn't expecting the drive up to be closed. So won't happen again. But I will absolutely use it in the future, because I did see it happening. And then the way that you just described it and being able to just immediately get help if you run into trouble makes me feel a lot better.
100%. And you can withdraw cash there. You can deposit cash. You can pay for loans. The one thing that I love about it, honestly, and this is probably going to sound like completely crazy, but I love to yard sale on the weekends in the summer around here. And when you go to a ITM, I don't know if you remember when you went to ATM, it was like, well, you could get out 10s, 20s, or sometimes 50s or whatever. With ITMs, you can typically designate what you want to withdraw in terms of the denominations. So for somebody who likes to yard sale, I'm like, give me like $21 bills is really what I want. Right. So that's a huge plus. It's kind of a small thing, but to me, it's a big plus. So
yeah, no, absolutely. It just seems like it's more centered around the customer, right? Like you said, and what people want, and not necessarily what's convenient for the bank, which is great. Yeah, that's great. So in all of your time with Triangle, what's one of the things that you are most proud of?
Well, that's a little bit of a hard one. I've seen a lot of growth in the credit union over the years, just in terms of our culture. And it's so funny because we do a lot of professional development internally. We do a lot of training. And when I started at the credit union, I too was a member. I had been a member at that point for 15 years, I think. And when I started, I was so excited. I kind of felt like that I was just home. And So I've always just really enjoyed working for the credit union. But as our culture, and it has evolved, I would say over the last, you know, probably 5 years or so, I've seen such an amazing commitment from our executive team and our senior management team, just in terms of support, and not only for our membership community, but also for the people who work at Triangle Credit Union, and again, within our culture. And I think that radiates, outwardly as well. I mean, we have won so many, and I'm not trying to be like laudy about this, but I do want to recognize, the efforts of our staff. We've won like best credit union. It's been the Union Leader Readers Choice Awards, the best of the 603, the best of Sauhegan Valley, the best of Greater Nashua. So, I mean, we're a small credit union. We're actually the fourth largest in the state. But, I feel like that in terms of, again, going back to that local factor, our staff, typically, if you bank with us, they're going to know your name. You know what I mean? Like when you go in, they know who you are, which is actually good for us as well, because we don't want any fraud or anything like that on accounts. But, it's really about, we just have a very dedicated staff, and that resonates with our community, because I feel like that we wouldn't be getting all of these awards if the people in our community didn't recognize that we were behind them, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Culture is so important, both in where you bank or do your shopping or whatever, but also, within your own where you work. It's just really, really important. So that's great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, we learned so much today about Triangle and all of your initiatives. Is there anything else that you want to add? Any one more takeaway for our audience, or?
I would add, Lynn, is that credit unions are open to everyone. They can be state chartered credit unions, or they can be community chartered. They can be federally, chartered. For Triangle, we basically, for anybody who works or resides in, I think, hold on just a second, I do have a note here. It's the Hillsborough, Merrimack, Belknap, Rockingham, and Cheshire counties of New Hampshire, and Franklin, Worcester, Middlesex, Essex counties of Massachusetts. A lot of times people, when they think about credit unions, they think they hear the word union and they're like, oh, I have to belong to a certain business, or, it's an old word, right?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And so if you work or reside in any of those counties, you're eligible for membership with Triangle. And it's $25 for a membership that goes into your savings account. If you ever left, you can take that with you. But that $25 becomes membership, so that now you're open to all of the other products and services that we have.
Right. Yeah, that's great. That's a great point to leave us with. So, well, thank you so much, Terri, for joining me today and explaining everything that Triangle does. And to our listeners, thank you for listening in, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye. You can download Community Catalyst on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Castbox, and Spotify.